We have the first look at the brand new Power Rangers toys coming out from Playmates. And again, this is something that I don't know why they're bringing this out. I feel like I don't know why. But let's go have a look. This has been all over the internet. You've seen the good old thumbnail, so let's just jump straight into it. Ranger Board tweeted out, via the Pop Insider magazine, here's the first look at some of Playmates' Mighty Morphin Power Ranger toys, new versions of the auto-morphing figures. Note, this is a separate line from the silhouetted teasers, which we'll talk about in a bit. Now, let's give some good points, because I'm not going to jump into the bad straight away. So, first of all, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Auto Morphing figures. Add Mighty Morphin nostalgia to your collection with the iconic Power Rangers. With a press of a lever, collectors can watch all 6 Rangers morph from their teenage selves to their heroic forms. The price of each figure is $10, so that'll be £10 when it comes over to the UK. And this is available in full from Target and Walmart, and I'm guessing it'll be literally in toy stores pretty soon, like straight after. I don't think this is going to be limited. So yeah, okay. So the second good point is the fact for $10 you get painted weapons with these figures. I think that's a good price. I think that's absolutely fair. I think that's pretty cool. Bar Tommy's Dragon Dagger is a fucking shit thing, as you can see right here with the way that it's gold and green, which obviously there's your first mistake of the toys that we've seen. Now, the things that I generally don't like is the fact that the blade blasters are going to be open. Pretty much every single toy, bar like a few Lightning Collection figures, have had the same thing. The blade blaster is always open, and they don't want to release 2 or 3 versions of it because, again, knife mode, gun mode, and then holstered mode. So again, we're going to have that. I'm not a big fan of that, so we'll see what happens. Now, the next load of things that you see is each of these figures are completely hench. It reminds me very similar to how I always see with most American toys of along this sort of line, where it's they have to have gigantic big muscles, and that's how these toys are meant to be. Now, I don't like the fact that Kimberly and Trini don't look like each other. The fact is that they just have massively giant bodies, and no one's been able to kind of figure out how to make these kind of a lot smaller so you can get the right proportion when it comes to flip heads. Hasbro didn't do it. Bandai kind of did it, but we'll look at that in a second. Now, to me, Tommy looks absolutely huge. It just feels like he could waddle in. Effectively, they're like Kingpin figures from Hasbro. Dear God. But yeah, these are, to me, they are way too big, and they're quite off-putting. They may look really, really cool, but to me, this is really off-putting. Now, another big thing is literally the heads of the figures, especially Trini. I think Trini's probably got the smallest head, which to me, I feel like that's really, really shitty. They should be at least a lot bigger when it comes to the helmets, because again, you just got giant bodies. It's just so weird. Mega Power Brazil tweeted out, 3 generations of Automorph figures commonly known as head turners. We have the first one from Bandai in the 90s, the one from Hasbro released in 2020, and then now Playmates version. And you can see here that there is quite a lot. I generally like the look of this one because it actually looks like it's in proportion to the rest. Look at how the body is a little bit bigger, but the head is roughly the same size. But for some strange reason, they seem to go down and down. So even here, it's not the entire body. So why couldn't they have slimmed this down? This is something that I don't get. I mean, I could understand back in the day here because it was absolutely a new thing to everyone, and the whole body would flip round. That's fine, I'll give it that one. The Hasbro one again didn't need the same thing, but they were copying Bandai because they wanted to bring out a nostalgia look. And this one here, now looking at it, is you only have a small amount where that could flip round. So why couldn't you bring the body in a little bit? Why couldn't you make it better? Why couldn't you make the head a lot bigger? I could understand maybe for this one, but for here, it just looks really weird. Looking at Hasbro, because these have gone on for some time, and I generally thought that they all stopped after Mighty Morphing, but no, with a quick look into it, they went on to Wild Force as well as Time Force, and like a few others, and even the Japanese got in on it as well to some degree. So it has been going on. But when you look at the way that Hasbro did this, like the arms are way too big, and like the heads, like there's no necks on these Rangers. The only decent one you could say is Ninja, but I generally hated the fact that there's no necks on these, and it just looks kind of really weird. And for the price range that Hasbro was doing it, you didn't get painted weapons. So Playmates are obviously doing something good. But looking at how these are, even when looking at like how they did with Ranger Slayer, doesn't look like Kimberly whatsoever, and that's really frustrating to me. These are the silhouettes right here, and they look a lot better, so I'm hoping that these figures are going to be something a little bit different than what they are now. To me, I think this looks okay. I'm looking forward to seeing these Rangers, comparing that we're seeing like Tommy's shield here, as well as all the others, so I think this is going to look pretty decent. But for the Automorphs, now, one thing I said earlier at the very beginning of the video is, like, where is the data of how many of these units sold? Like, you'd think that since Playmates now on the master license, because Hasbro probably sold it to them, you would have access to all that sales data to say, hey, look at this. Like, you know, we sold like a bajillion of these figures, and we made billions and billions of dollars off this one particular brand. So you could look at it, or they could see and go, oh, only like maybe like 1,000 of these sold around the world, or maybe like let's say 5,000 sold, but it wasn't a good thing, because majority is you've just had Hasbro bring out their version, and that's probably when was it? Roughly around about 2021, so it's a couple of years out. But are these still sat on like the peg warmers? Like, have they been sent to Ollie's? Where are these figures right now? Or is Hasbro still selling them? For me personally, nonetheless, these are like amazing. I think this is one thing I'm going to pass on. I don't know if I would get them for the channel, but they would just literally be back in the box or whatever, and I just don't know where I'd put them. I probably would just sell them off. But this is something for me that I don't particularly want to kind of do. Now, you could argue, hey, this is for the kids. Fair dues, yeah, it could be. But what kids are playing with the Mighty Morphing line? You think you'd have Cosmic Fury, Dino Fury, you know, even Beast Morphers, Samurai, or any of these sorts of lines. It just feels like we're going back to Mighty Morphing, and this is the other video. I've talked about this previously, where you can go check it out, but I think I might need to make another one. But generally, I don't think that these toys are going to be the ones that they think is great to sell. I feel like the price is a steal. I feel like if you're going to spend $10, absolutely fine. Spending a lot more on these figures, hell no. $10, absolutely fine. And again, these can probably be trashed and like can be like thrown about, and it's just $10, £10, etc., etc. It's going to be fine. But yeah, generally, I just think this isn't the one. Interesting to see if they are absolutely fantastic, but I think that these could have had more work, especially since the heads are way too small for the actual figures, and you're basically getting more body than anything. I'm just going to leave it there. What are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments, and let's discuss. And while you're down there, why not hit the like and subscribe to the channel, and yeah, just check out the Patreon as well as the channel memberships. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat. Your help goes a long way to help support the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, the links to my Patreon and channel memberships are listed below in the description.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。